Oh.
What is up, everyone? This is Press X Start Podcast, Season 6, Episode 2. Press X the Podcast is an audio and video podcast seeking to transform the video game media landscape through an underserved and protected point of view. Microsoft, acquire us, please. I am your host, EJ, a.k.a. Sexy Bad Choices, a.k.a. I cook, I clean, I'm cheap, and I'm pretty cool. Again, Microsoft, acquire us.
Well, it's your boy Jordan, aka JXBot, aka I don't really have a second one after that, just JXBot. But
I got you, aka Microsoft acquire.
It's your heavyweight champion from Wish Nigga, California, aka the janitor because we watch niggas, aka Moon Cricket, Moon Knight's black cousin, Marcus Ellison.
Worst.
Technically,
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say technically Moon Knight's black cousin would still be Moon Knight because the character is a cultural legacy passed down from Egypt.
Don't take this away from me, Avery.
In your face, Marcus.
Right.
And who are you?
I'm Avery.
There we go. Nailed it. Microsoft. Where else are you going to get this kind of humor? Huh? Where else? Acquire.
Blessing. What is his name?
Audio.
Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Yeah.
Wait, you know something about Kind of Funny being acquired by Microsoft?
I don't know.
In the way Tim Geddes talks about things, you never know.
Right. All right. That is who we are. So Microsoft basically just made them bands dance. You know what I mean? They threw them money.
Boy.
All right. So the article that we're pulling from is from Variety, is from Todd Spangler. Microsoft to buy Activision Blizzard in mega deal worth $68.7 billion. So just to note that $68.7 billion is almost half of Microsoft's valuation. So they essentially threw half themselves at this deal.
Well, no, Microsoft's market cap is $2.2 trillion.
Oh, is it really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you get trillion?
Oh. Yes.
The issue we're dealing with is there's a difference between Xbox and there's a difference between Microsoft, the software giant created by Bill Gates.
Right.
Xbox's market cap is probably what you originally talked about, but they're also a part of Microsoft.
Let me go ahead and just edit that. Listener or viewer, you didn't. I said Xbox, not Microsoft. So there you go. All right. So if this deal goes through, this will be Microsoft's biggest ever acquisition, and by far the biggest deal ever in video game business, as well as the largest tech deal to date.
That's some like Disney acquiring Fox shit right there.
Close.
That's like Disney acquiring. I don't know. I have nothing to say there. Yes, you're right. You're right, Marcus. So the games lineup, we don't really. They got Call of Duty, they got Candy Crush, they got Warcraft, they got Diablo, they got Overwatch, and they got Hearthstone.
Did you just say they have Candy Crush?
Yeah.
Candy Crush? Yeah,
The game industry is destroyed.
Because Activision owns King. So yeah. So according to Microsoft, the deal will accelerate the growth of its gaming business across mobile, PC, console, and cloud, and will provide building blocks for the metaverse. So this is important.
High-fiving Captain Price.
So this is actually important because I kind of want to do a heavy hitter where we talk about the metaverse, because it's been thrown here and there. That word's been used to justify a lot of things, including voice versus NFT stuff with Troy Baker. And right now, I feel like metaverse is a buzzword that really has absolutely no meaning.
Well,
that's a different story.
Yeah.
So the question some people had was, all right, well, how was Microsoft able to do this right now? And essentially, with Activision Blizzard stock under pressure due to the workplace misconduct problems and disappointing results, shares have dropped 30% over the past 12 months. Microsoft viewed this as a window of opportunity to acquire a unique asset that can propel its customer strategy forward. Yeah, so essentially with the shit that Activision was going through, Microsoft was just like, that's actually, I don't remember the exact quote.
To clarify, it's not just the shit that's going on right now. It's the stuff that's been going on with with Activision through the pandemic.
Yeah. So I
believe a steal.
Right.
For a company of this size.
I believe Phil Spencer had said something about when they were commenting, he was like they're reassessing or reevaluating the relationship with Activision or something like that.
In marketing speech, I think that means that, hey, we could probably get a better deal on this.
Right, yeah. So, so that happened. So there is a breakup fee of $3 billion in case the deal doesn't clear. So Microsoft said that Activision Blizzard CEO Bobby Kotick will continue in that role. Once the deal closes, Kotick will report to Phil Spencer, newly named CEO of Microsoft Gaming. So yeah, that was actually one of the questions too, because a lot of people were just like, all right, well, are they going to kick Bobby Kotick out like right now? But unfortunately, he will be there until next year. And
I think that the biggest thing was Phil Spencer's new role. He's like kind of like the president of Xbox essentially. He had his cadre of people, Sarah Bond and Adam Greenberg and stuff like that. But him being CEO of Microsoft Gaming has kind of like shifted their gaming department away just from like the Xbox. The Xbox is a part of it, but now it's like the Microsoft platform. And that's a lot of power within that organization, at least in terms of
the Microsoft multiverse.
Their Microsoft CEO literally last year saying, okay, we're going full commit with gaming. I was like, maybe blank checks, but I didn't know it was going to be literal blank checks being written to their gaming division.
Yeah.
By him.
So would you call that, would their metaverse be called the MGU, Microsoft Gaming Universe?
Possibly.
I guess so,
professional marketers for that position.
Hey, Phil, acquire us. You know what I'm saying? We'll only ask for $2 million. Like, that's chump change, $2 million per person, by the way. The next news article, it comes from Games Radar Plus. Austin Wood and Allie Jones. Hours after Microsoft says it's buying Activision, the U.S. government says it's overhauling merger guidelines. So, on the heels of Microsoft Activision's purchase, the U.S. government's Department of Justice and Federal Trade Commission launched a joint review of antitrust merger guidelines. The DOJ and FTC monitor and that's a typo. So, okay, there was supposed to be a comma there. So the DOJ and FTC monitor and may investigate mergers and acquisitions which could break antitrust laws. Usually, though, anti-competitive. There you go, nailed it. Or monopolistic arrangements. FTC Chair Lena Khan explained that the FTC and DOJ today are jointly launching a review of the merger guidelines to improve the ability of antitrust agencies to assess unlawful mergers and enforce regulations. It's worth noting that this wasn't a response to Activision Blizzard's acquisition. Like, this just happened coincidentally. Okay. The other new guidelines could affect so basically the new guidelines, whatever they may be, they actually could affect this deal going through. So we're all reacting to the possibility of this happening, though it's not inevitable.
Yeah, I mean, the deal most likely was written within the bounds of current antitrust laws. What this seems like is more clerical, as in they will have to request more documentation, more forecasting, more studies that can actually prove whether, at least on both Activision's and Microsoft's side, that this, it requires more paperwork, essentially, in terms of how they assess and review those. But to say that Microsoft and Activision created a deal that was in no way cognizant had any type of awareness of actual antitrust laws is a stretch.
Right. Yeah.
Current one,
jumping the gun a bit.
But like this isn't something that's like going to go to the fucking Senate and reform our nation's view or European Union's view of mergers.
I'm of the mindset if the Disney Fox deal was able to go ahead, then there's no reason why this deal shouldn't be able to go ahead. That being said, this information, all the other information, especially that like lawmakers are now like actually like speaking up on like their social platforms, like, hey, this deal going on right now is not something that should go on. Like, people are talking about that. It's gone from this is a 90% chance could happen to like a 75% chance it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's it gets kind of weird. Okay, so there's two more articles, and then we can kind of have that discussion. So the third article comes from Bloomberg. Takashi Mochizuki and Vlad Savo. Microsoft's Activision deal wipes $20 billion off of Sony's market value in a day. So Sony Group Corporation shares fell 13% in Tokyo, and that was their biggest drop since October 2008, which wiped $20 billion off of Sony's valuation in a day. Games and network services account for about 30% of Sony's revenue. So that's
like a Thanos snap.
Really though. So that's that. And then the last thing comes from The Verge, from Tom Warner and Sam Byford. Sony expects Microsoft to continue to ensure Activision games stay multi-platform. They expect. So this was a quote by Phil Spencer that was a part of the whole them talking about the purchasing of Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard games are enjoyed on a variety of platforms, and we plan to continue to support these communities moving forward. It's easy to imagine a future where Microsoft maintains Call of Duty Warzone across multiple platforms, but any future Call of Duty games pretty much could go Xbox exclusive. After all, Microsoft isn't spending $68.7 billion to keep publishing PlayStation games forever. So Sony has responded to Microsoft's blockbuster proposal to buy Activision Blizzard with a comment on what that might mean for the future games like Call of Duty on PlayStation consoles. Sony said, "We expect that Microsoft." We expect that Microsoft will abide by contractual agreements and continue to ensure Activision games are multi-platform. Okay, that's pretty much what happened this week with this whole thing in a nutshell. So now we can actually start talking about this. So first up, what do you guys think about these games being multi-platform or going exclusive?
If it's going to be real interesting if games like juggernauts like Call of Duty or Overwatch or other things that have been cross-platform, especially Call of Duty, go Xbox exclusive, because like I've never even thought of the possibility of Call of Duty being like one console exclusive, and it's gonna really push Sony into a corner if that happens. Like what are they gonna do? Like resurrect Killzone or something? Like I'm of the mindset that all of the I really, really hate the marketing speak between both companies about this entire situation in regards to what they will and will not say because of all the contractual bullshit. Yeah, I think the point about spending nearly $70 billion to have a multi-platform franchise, that's the minute the content. Like, here's the thing: Sony has a marketing deal with Activision about Call of Duty and a bunch of content. So as long as that contract, you will stop seeing Call of Duty games on PlayStation the minute that contract is up. That being said, there is a question to be made. This is the only bargaining power Sony has in regards to Call of Duty, is that as I was looking at these numbers, Sony makes up more than 50% of the pretty much market capita of what Call of Duty makes. Like they're about 50%. So Microsoft saying, hey,
this is only going to be on our platforms going forward. It's just cutting off half of the amount of money that Call of Duty makes, which is half of its worth. So it's like, it's one of those things where like you spent $70 billion for Call of Duty. Like, Activision doesn't have anything else to really like there are a bunch of studios and they make good games, but like all of them make Call of Duty. So you spent $70 billion for Call of Duty.
Yeah.
How do you? I'm not Phil Spencer. I'm not the Xbox team. I'm not Sony. I'm not the PlayStation team. I don't know how you broach this divide, because you're not going to make up that money. Well, you're not going to start making up the money you spent on Call of Duty if it's not multi-platform on the PlayStation console. And on the PlayStation side of things,
yeah. Sorry.
Call of Duty is like 50% of their like. No, I looked it up. Number one, for 2022. No, for 2021, Call of Duty was 1 and 2 of their best-selling games. Number 1 was a game that just came out in November, and number 2 was a game that came out last November.
Mm-hmm.
And then going down their list, their highest-selling game of last year was Ghost of Tsushima. I had to look this up because the 2021 numbers aren't really that great because of the PlayStation 5. So I looked at the 2020 numbers. The 2020 numbers were the exact same in terms of Call of Duty was number 1, Call of Duty was number 2, and then like the highest PlayStation game was T-Lu 2 at number 6, and then Ghost of Tsushima at level number 7. Now, since we know in 2020,
like it should be
2021, that Ghost, it took till 2021 for Ghost to get 5 million. That tells you that when we know the Call of Duty numbers, I think around 20 to 30 million at that time, that tells you how big of a drop off in terms of unit sales there is between The Last of Us 2 and then Call of Duty.
PlayStation is just going to increase PlayStation Plus by like $50.
I do feel like they're going to find themselves, because I don't think there will be a full-on, okay, Call of Duty is off Sony. I do feel like they're going to end up doing like a Disney and Sony Spider-Man co-parenting deal. Like maybe they'll just relinquish some of the other games to Xbox exclusives, but I don't think they can afford to lose Call of Duty, and they know that.
I don't think either company can afford to make this move. Well, I mean, Microsoft can afford because they're made of money. But in regards to the...
Wait. Let's give Jordan a chance to like give a piece.
So there's two minds here. One being that what Avery said in terms of them going after contracts, at the end of them, Xbox will always have a Call of Duty game on their platform. That platform being Game Pass. This is for Game Pass. And I said it over and over again, that Game Pass, not Xbox, is the beast here. Not the Xbox console is the beast here. To which what Microsoft is doing is allowing for Game Pass to be on multiple platforms, being your computer, soon to be your smart television, and also older versions of the Xbox and current versions of the Xbox. Their imprint can be scaled upward to that 50% lost on Sony's side. But I'm not trying to say that all those Sony players are going to automatically transfer themselves over to buying an Xbox Series console. But being able to play Game Pass on your television as an alternative or on your computer as an alternative is a pathway to increase those quote-unquote lost numbers of PlayStation players. Like in terms of, they're not locking Call of Duty behind a console. They're locking it behind a platform. A platform that's become more accessible now than ever. So I see it that Warzone will continue to be supported on PlayStation. I see Warzone as like, that's not going to go away. All the older Call of Duties and even the one coming up, those will continue to be supported and continue. Like they're not going to yank them off the PlayStation Store. Like that's not going to happen, especially when you have people that have actually paid for it and those contracting agreements that have been made with Activision at the time. But yeah, like in terms of new Call of Duty games, or if there's a new like Warzone 2 or something like that, I fully expect those to be locked behind Game Pass essentially.
Yeah, I kind of see all sides essentially. Like there is the side of yeah, Xbox just making this thing exclusive. Like, if you want it, you have to either get the console or get Game Pass and put it on your computer or something. I can also see the side of Microsoft being like, yeah, we spent almost $70 billion. We got to make this money back. Like, so we'll put the game on PlayStation. It's going to be $70. You can get it free on Game Pass. So, or, you pay a subscription to get it on Game Pass. So, those people paying $70, they're going to be paying money and we're going to be getting that money. But I also see the third option of essentially Microsoft and Sony talking, and Microsoft was like, hey, look, this is on Game Pass. That's where it lives. If you want it, you can get Game Pass on PlayStation.
Here's my issue with that. We know PlayStation is doing Spartacus.
Yep.
Do you make your own platform and then put the better version of that platform on yours and then tell people, hey, buy our thing?
Wait, say again?
Are you saying like Spartacus?
Spartacus versus Game Pass. We know PlayStation is doing Spartacus this year. Right. Do you then handicap Spartacus? Because another conversation about this is that like Spartacus is kind of dead in the water at this point with this news. Yeah. That's neither here or there, but it's kind of a thing. Yeah. Do you like put the bullet to Spartacus's head and say, "Hey, here's Game Pass"?
Yeah.
Like,
yo, that's rough. It is rough.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sony's got to run the hands with Microsoft at this point.
Terrorism, full corporate terrorism.
I'm gonna keep it 100. When I heard this news, I mauled it for an entire day. I felt sick to my stomach, and not because of any hatred towards Microsoft, but just what this entirely means for the video game industry at all. Like when you talk about that $20 billion that Sony lost in their market share, every other third-party publisher, their market share went up. Because the idea of them being acquired became more delectable to other sources. And then Microsoft has come out and said, oh, this isn't us competing with Sony. This is us competing with the other tech companies out there who got interested in games. So which means that
Amazon.
There was actually an article that I didn't put on the docket that was essentially talking about what Avery's talking about right now in terms of like the possibilities of like Apple or Google or Amazon looking at acquiring like bigger third-party studios.
It's crazy how just Microsoft went to the jugular with Activision, because I was in the mind of, okay, maybe Sega, maybe EA or some shit like that, but they bought essentially four of Activision, four of like going down the line. If you added them up together, it would have been one Activision. So maybe they were like, maybe we can get away with one for now, the big one, and then have everyone fight for the others. It is a damaging precedent. I'm not gonna lie.
Because another thing is that like I talked about how Spartacus is sort of dead in the water right now, because like even if like one of the things that we had conversations with in the sort of like our Slack about this and like is that like I have never liked Game Pass, but not for the content on Game Pass, but just my own personal taste. Right. And in fact, this Activision deal doesn't really change any of my personal tastes. Like, I don't really play Call of Duty. The only Blizzard game I really play is Overwatch. And unless Overwatch 2 comes out in 2023 as confirmed, and Microsoft said we're canceling Overwatch 2, even then, the promises of Overwatch 1 guarantee that I'm still playing Overwatch, an updated version of Overwatch on PlayStation going forward. So like that doesn't really change anything. But it's one of those things where no matter how good Sony games are and how much better they are than Xbox games, you cannot compete with quantity. You just can't.
The casual market. That's what they're fighting here.
I mean, talking about the divide between the Call of Duty sales and then like prestige games like Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2.
I talked about how one of the reasons I don't like subscription game services is it changed the way the game's made. I just didn't expect it would change the way Sony games would be made, and they don't have one as of yet. And it's one of those things where like, one of the reasons Sony games are so good is the amount of time and effort and money they pump into those games. As a direct result, they don't come out as often. Well, Microsoft has 31 studios now. who, as far as I'm aware of, they've been given a limited budget to do whatever the fuck they want. I don't expect them to start pumping out 10s, but I expect them to be pumping out 5 or 6, 7 to 8s every year going forward. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Sony trying can maybe get out 1 or 2 10s. 1 or 2 10s, and then they can't afford the Days Gone. And I will sit here and talk about, like, seriously.
No, he's not wrong.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, my Microsoft last fall were able to, like, into the Microsoft published games. You had Psychonauts 2, Horizon, Forza Horizon 5, and Halo. All of them were like there is quality there, but like. I do agree. We had to see it to believe it, especially because
I'm sorry. I misspoke. When I say all I need to do is pump out 7 or 10s, that's ignoring the possibility of, hey, we are going to put out a 10. Mm-hmm. Like there's like Sony is going to suffocate.
Those studios aren't on the hook for producing like 10s. They can produce
Well, Sony studios are, which means like a team of Sobi probably not going to be doing like Astrobot's not competing with like 10 other mascot platformers that are coming out that have the nostalgia for it. Like
you mean the Astrobot kart racer isn't going to compete with Forza Horizon?
It's one of those things where like one of the reasons that made me sick in the sense that it was president, because like Sony can't go around business as usual. Microsoft has something we talked about is that the way Sony and Microsoft worked in regards to studios is that Sony was fucking Albert Einstein working on the nuclear bomb. Like they were putting the time and effort in the studio, just making sure it comes out at 10. And when it does, then they pull the trigger. Well, Microsoft was like, no, we have a checkbook. You make games for Game Pass now. That's how you work now. That's
if let's say one thing in terms of like Sony and their output. Now they have to focus on the multiplayer. Now they can't rely on the third party. If we can agree with that.
Too. So
because of how much money it counts for.
My thing with to Jordan's point
to
Jordan's point about multiplayer, they can't win that fight either because the biggest multiplayer in the game that everyone agrees is the best multiplayer game is Call of Duty, which won't be a PlayStation software. And no game that's PlayStation exclusive is going to beat the juggernaut cachet of Call of Duty, a game that despite diminishing returns, still 13 years the top-selling game of all time.
All I'm hearing is Last of Us Factions 2 just has to add a couple more months to their development. They got it. But yeah, like so now, like listening to this, my whole thing is like, all right, well, what's Sony's like next move in terms of anything, right? We have Spartacus that is, as Avery said, pretty much gonna be kind of dead in the water. Like what are they gonna do with that? And then I kind of started thinking, like, what could they do? And this is wild now. This is a wild shot. I was looking at the companies, and
you have my same thought, which is why I hate this.
We got Square Enix, and I feel like Sony doesn't necessarily have to buy them out outright. They could just buy a majority of their stock. Square Enix is worth $332 billion. And
wait,
yen.
That's the case. Sony cannot afford them.
Yen. It's in yen.
Okay, Jerry, put a shit on what I'm saying. Yen.
One of the things I noticed when doing all this research is how difficult it is to evaluate the actual market, like the market value of individual companies. Data is not easily there to digest.
It's not
Square,
but like
Namco, Bandai, possibly.
And the thing is, like out of the Japanese third parties, Square is the biggest, and Square has the most properties that.
And there's a relationship there with Final Fantasy.
I want to point out that what DJ is talking about now is something I talked about, I want to say 6 months ago when I got back on this show about Sony's response to Bethesda. So I want to point out.
I agree. And like, it's one of those things where it's just like, at that time it was just like, I'd probably say like at that time it was just like, well, Sony doesn't really have to do anything. Like Bethesda is big, but it's, but like now at this point, like, I wouldn't want to be Jim Ryan right now. I just take a vacation.
This is the thing that made me sick. Is that the only way Sony can respond to this is they can't go business as usual, working with third parties to make good games and then requiring those third parties slowly but surely, like they have time, or they're going to get suffocated. They have to make big ass competitive moves against this. Square would have worked when it was just Bethesda, because Square was equivalent, if not more, than a Bethesda in that they would essentially be locking Xbox users out of high quality JRPGs. The ones that like have the cachet of the Final Fantasies. It would also really cement their relationship with Disney in regards to Disney-made games on PlayStation platforms. But like, there's nothing Square has that has the cachet and the firepower that replaces the hole that Call of Duty has created in PlayStation.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Here's the thing. This is something I don't even think, because I can't even find the data. The only thing that could really compete with the Activision bomb of hey, this is we need to compete with this is Take-Two.
Take-Two. I was going to say EA.
Well, here's the thing. EA would work as well, because then they would remove all the sports games from Microsoft fans. So no, it wouldn't, because we live in the MLB The Show world where that game used to be single game and now it's on everyone because the organization wanted that. So that doesn't even work. But if Grand Theft Auto 6 was a PlayStation exclusive, that would be just as big of a bomb, if not bigger, than Call of Duty on Xbox.
But
good
I
point.
can see that.
Yeah. But Square, Take-Two costs $18 billion. They cost twice as more as Bethesda.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if that's in Sony's price range, to be honest. Because Sony, and that'll be 20% of Sony's, as not PlayStation, but Sony's like 145 billion.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
Yeah,
That's a lot to spend.
I don't know if Sony could afford. You can fight Microsoft unilaterally.
They're not going to be able to cash the cash. They're not going to be able to fight anything. But if 2023, when this deal has gone forward, I wouldn't be surprised if either by the end of this year or by the beginning of next year, Sony has started making moves to start acquiring studios to compete. Not studios, acquire publishers to compete with what Microsoft is doing.
Yeah. I definitely like it. I feel like it's going to be a thing of I think for Microsoft, they're done with their moves. I think this you think they're going to try to acquire more?
Yeah.
I feel like at this point,
Phil Spencer has said multiple times, "Oh yeah, we're still interested in acquiring more platforms, more content."
Yeah, I know. You're always interested, but that doesn't mean you're going to actually do that.
What Avery just said is literally the last time Phil talked about acquiring, and then it became this. But Phil has not indicated in any way that they're going to stop.
My thing is, you buy Bethesda.
No, wait. What I'm saying is that I feel like after a purchase this big, be a while. You calm down and you make sure that it works, and then you go about.
They won't be able to make a purchase, a critical purchase like this, till maybe at the latest June 2023. Because that's when this deal will have officially gone down. That's the end of when this deal has officially gone down in terms of that's the latest it can go down.
I would even, I think that would probably be the earliest, but I think realistically they would probably give the relationship of them and Activision a year or two to see exactly how that goes, so they can learn from that.
Bethesda's not even. It's not even dry.
Yeah, Bethesda.
Well, but they've also had they've had a relationship. They had a working relationship with Bethesda for a very long time.
Yeah,
so that's not even.
I like the motherfucker.
Well, but that's not even a new thing for them. They just continue the conversations, but Bethesda just has the Microsoft branding on there. I think this
we had this argument when the Bethesda thing happened, in that the last Bethesda game that Microsoft made, the last Bethesda game made for a Microsoft only platform was Oblivion, and that's over 10 to 15 years ago.
What the reason why I say that Bethesda was a Microsoft studio is that being in the studio, they are an Xbox studio. Like they release their games for PlayStation, but they are an Xbox studio. And it's just like, as a person who was a PlayStation gamer, it's just like, God, literally everyone there. This is back in 2010. Everyone there was on Xbox, and it was me and like two other people that had a PlayStation. Had a PSN.
That was the PS3 generation.
What? Well, I mean, but what I'm saying is that like that Microsoft buying them wasn't as crazy of an idea to me, just because of my experience and just being like, yeah, that makes sense. Like it would be more weird if PlayStation bought Bethesda to me than Microsoft. But yeah, that's just that. Yeah, so this is crazy. As Avery said, like it's gonna take maybe next year for we to see exactly what happens if this deal actually goes through, because we don't know what the new guidelines might do to this deal. It might change the deal. It might force them to have to be multi-platform or some crazy stuff.
Or it might force them to sell off parts of Activision during the deal.
True. Maybe PlayStation get Crash Bandicoot and make a Uncharted like Crash Bandicoot game.
A Last of Us like Trash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, you're right. You weren't the first time you said that name. They made a superior platformer afterwards called Jack and Daxter.
Somewhere right now, Sean is upset, but you won't be able to see that, and we won't be able to see that. That was a bad transition. Well, this has been an episode of Press X Start Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we enjoyed making it. Don't forget to rate reviews on your favorite podcasting apps. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification bell, and then after that, you hit that share button. As I said earlier, you share it to 3 of your best friends and 3 of your worst enemies. It's a good spread. It's a good spread. And then if you want, you can send to your family members, but only 2 of them, not 3, just 2. Do it. You'll see.
Unless one of your family members is your then
you went out at the exact moment, so I have no idea what. Oh,
I said unless one of your family members is one of your enemies.
Shit. Damn. That's real. All right. Well, you take care. Be safe.
Uno out.
Peace.